Education, and welcome to tonight's CIP hearing. First, I wanted to give thanks to the members of our interpretive services staff who are here tonight providing services for Spanish-speaking community members. Thank you for being here. Tonight, we have set aside to hear from PTAs, municipalities, civic organizations, and interested individuals on the superintendent's amendments to the recommended fiscal year FY 2021 capital budget and FY 2021 through 2026 capital improvements program. That includes Bethesda Chevy Chase, Walter Johnson Elementary site selection, Clarksburg Cluster Elementary School number 9, Crest Haven Elementary School, Roscoe Nix Elementary School, which is a solution for Joanne Lillick Elementary School at Broad Acres, Silver Spring International Middle School, and Sligo Creek Elementary School. Prior to today, the board has held one work session. During that meeting, board members had the opportunity to pose questions regarding the recommended amendments to the CIP. The board will hold another work session on next Thursday, March the 12th at 12:30 p.m. If board members recommend alternatives during the board's second work session, the board will hold a hearing on March the 18th. If no alternatives are passed, there will be no need to hold a meeting on March the 18th. As always, board members are looking forward to hearing and giving thoughtful consideration to your testimony. The board is scheduled to take action on these matters at its meeting on Monday, March the 23rd, and that will begin at 5:30 p.m. The order of speakers is printed on the agenda, and it's been made available to you on the table up front. When a speaker comes to the podium, a green light will go on. 30 seconds prior to the expiration of the speaker's time, a yellow light will go on, accompanied by a beep. We're asking you when the red light goes on, the buzzer is going to signal. We're going to ask you to stop. We want you just to be respectful of all the people that have come here today to give testimony. And if you have not done so, we're asking that you give your copies of your testimony to our board staff sitting right here to the left of me, to the right of you. And we're asking that you have 20 copies to make that available. And we are asking speakers to move to the front of the room once your name is next in order. And at this time, I will ask my colleagues to introduce themselves. We'll start with our Vice President.
Good evening. My name is Brenda Wolf. I'm the Vice President, District 5.
And then we'll start at the far end.
Good evening, everyone. Jeanette Dixon, Member at Large. And I do have a statement from Mrs. Smondrowski, who asked me to let you all know that due to a death in her family, she is unable to attend tonight. However, she wanted me to let everyone know that she apologizes for missing it, and she will be watching it over the weekend and has your written testimony. Thank you.
Judy Dock, a member of the board, District 1.
Good evening. Pat O'Neill, District 3.
Good evening. Buenas noches. My name is Carla Silvestre. Thank you for being here tonight.
Good evening. Nate Sinbite, student member of the board.
Good evening, Jack Smith, Superintendent. Thanks so much for coming tonight and sharing your experiences and perspectives about what you think will work best in your communities.
Good evening, Monifa McKnight, Deputy Superintendent. Thank you for coming.
Good evening, everyone. Andy Zuckerman, Chief Operating Officer.
At the table, could we have you all introduce yourselves?
Adrienne Karamijas, Director of Planning.
Essie McGuire, Associate Superintendent for Operations.
Seth Adams, Director, Department of Facilities Management.
Okay. I'm going to ask if there are any MCPS administrators or staff in the audience. If so, we ask you to please stand so we can recognize you. Yes, thank you. Okay. So at this time, we will begin with our first speaker, and that is Melanie Barrios. You can go ahead.
Good evening. Buenas noches. My name is Melanie Barrios, and I'm a 5th grader at Clarksburg Elementary. I am also the SGA president at Clarksburg Elementary. I wanted to start off by thanking the Board of Education for the opportunity to share my thoughts on how the overcrowding at Clarksburg Elementary affects the students and teachers. One of the major challenges the students face is not being able to finish their lunch during the lunch period. In the morning, there are many buses that arrive late or right on time due to long drop-off lines, since drop-off space is tight and limited. This leads to the students not having the opportunity to order their lunch in advance in the morning, causing longer lunch lines during lunch period and leaving many students with no time to finish their lunch. Second, as a friendly reminder, school dismissal is at 3:50 p.m. Fifth graders at Clarksburg Elementary are finished lunch at 2:30 p.m. Let me repeat that again. In efforts to avoid long lines and due to lack of space, fifth graders are starting lunch at 1:55 p.m. and finishing lunch at 2:30 p.m. School dismissal is at 3:50 p.m. Usually around 1 p.m. you can hear my classmates and my stomach growling while we are raising our hands participating in class. Eating lunch later in the day, even though we have a light snack in the morning, impacts our attention span and how engaged we are in class. Third, I felt it was important as a school president to receive feedback from Mr. Carl Bensel, our school principal, who shared due to our current student count of 639 students, there is an extremely limited amount of space. There is not enough space or time to bring all the students together. The cafeteria space is needed for the many lunch periods that run continuously from 10:45 a.m. to 2:45 p.m. This leaves the only available times for assemblies from 9:45 to 10:45 and 2:45 to 3:45. This is a challenge because the school cannot fit all the students in the cafeteria at one time, and there is no time to break the assembly into two different periods. Teaching space is also limited. One example is the students has needed to use rooms such as the printer room for instrument and music classes. In conclusion, I will share with you a small sample of what is happening at Clarksburg Elementary due to the overcrowding based on our current enrollment of 639 students in a school built for 311 students. I hope that you would take my comments into account when you take action to vote for the amendment later in the month. It is important that Clarksburg Elementary number 9 be opened on time on September 2022, as it is scary to think that we still have 2 more years of growth coming to Clarksburg Elementary. Enrollment will continue to grow with an estimated additional 150 students within the next 2 years. Even though I will no longer be at Clarksburg Elementary, I felt it was my responsibility to speak for my entire school. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Now we will hear from Jaquan.
Good evening, Dr. Smith and members of the Board of Education. My name is Jay Guan. I'm a community member in Clarksburg. I attended the Facilities and Boundary Work session on February 27, 2020. I was alarmed to hear that there is a proposed amendment to the CIP whereby Clarksburg Elementary School will be repurposed and all elementary students will go to Clarksburg Cluster number 9. I don't think that is prudent. As multiple board members at that meeting mentioned, projections in the Clarksburg area has been consistently inaccurate. Counting on Clarksburg Cluster number 9 with a capacity of about 700 to provide adequate capacity to Clarksburg Elementary's current service area seems very optimistic. The current Clarksburg Elementary School and the potential Clarksburg Cluster number 9 service area will have a total of 2,883 dwelling units from 3 different developments. In my written testimony, there is a map along with the names of these developments. For comparison, Clarksburg Village and the surrounding areas have about 2,600 dwelling units, and they're served by 2 elementary schools, Wilson Williams and Snowden Farm. So there is also another figure in my written testimony to show the geographic location and the service area of these 2 elementary schools. Therefore, from a risk mitigation perspective, it is certainly more prudent to keep Clarksburg Elementary open simultaneously with Clarksburg Cluster number 9 when it is completed. If after Clarksburg Cluster number 9 opens and it can provide adequate capacity alone, then I think it is reasonable for the board to discuss whether to repurpose Clarksburg Elementary. Furthermore, the Clarksburg Master Plan envisioned to have both Clarksburg Elementary and Clarksburg Cluster number 9 to serve the surrounding area, as you can see in Figure 3 in my written testimony. In conclusion, I implore the board to reject the CIP amendment regarding Clarksburg Elementary and Clarksburg Cluster number 9. We're simply asking for MCPS and the board to stick with the Clarksburg Master Plan. Nothing more, nothing less. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from our cluster representatives. They will each get 5 minutes. At this time, we will hear from Catherine Stocker from Bethesda Chevy Chase Cluster.
Thank you. Dear Board President Evans, Board of Education members, and Superintendent Smith, thank you for the opportunity to testify at this hearing. I'm Kathy Stocker and one of the cluster coordinators for the BCC cluster. As always, I welcome this opportunity to represent the 7,600 kids currently enrolled over our 10 schools. In response to the proposed amendments to the CIP, I'm here to express our alarm and very strong concern about the proposal to delay the planned addition at Bethesda Elementary School. We understand that MCPS is in a tight spot. The county executive has proposed a CIP budget that is underpowered, to put it mildly. We understand that you, the board, and the hardworking staff at MCPS are doing your best to stretch the dollars to meet the formidable capital investments needed in our county. You are in a tight spot. But Bethesda Elementary is a tight spot, a really tight spot. Unless our children drink some sort of Alice in Wonderland style shrinking potion, we are just not going to have room for them or the new students who are coming. When the CIP went to press, we were 110 plus kids over capacity, but of course that number has grown. Projections over the next few years indicate that Bethesda Elementary will be over-enrolled by 164 and 171 students on the first day of school of 2021 and 2022, respectively. The proposed addition, previously projected to open for 2023, offered some relief. With this proposed delay, we are facing a situation in which Bethesda Elementary will be hundreds of kids over capacity with no more room for relocatable classrooms. We are in the middle of downtown Bethesda, not adjacent to a nice field or a large parking lot where we can put more portables. I do not need to explain to this board that downtown Bethesda is growing and there are apartments being built. Driving through downtown Bethesda is like being a rat in a maze, dodging around construction sites in the shadow of yet another crane. New apartment buildings are approved and will be open for business when the addition at BE should have been ready to absorb this new growth. I know that no one likes the M word, moratorium, but I would like to point out that if this new proposed time frame had been proposed last year, that we would have been in a building moratorium. This new timing feels to the Bethesda Elementary community like the goalposts are moving. If we could not have allowed and sustained this growth last year, we certainly cannot do it this year. We need this much needed addition at Bethesda Elementary to be completed by the first day of school 2023. The BE school faculty and its leadership has had to get really creative to make the school day work, but they were running out of options. As I've mentioned in previous testimony, lunch is held in classrooms for some sections due to lack of space to accommodate everyone in the school cafeteria. This constraint puts additional strain on staffing resources as it requires split coverage for lunch and additional building service time for cleanup. The common spaces are completely overworked and overstretched. During recess, only one grade can use the playground area at a time due to space constraints. Because technology resources are allocated for the number of students and not the number of oversubscribed sections, there's actually not even enough space to store the computers. Certain educational programming at the school has to be doubled up. ESOL, special ed, and instrumental instruction are all forced to use the same spaces. It is very difficult to find space needed for specials and service providers. For example, when school psychologists visit, there's nowhere to put them. While additional relocatable classrooms can help ease some of this crowding a bit now, the proposed classroom addition is urgently needed. Given the other proposed amendment impacting our cluster, we are all the more concerned that the overall decrease in planned capacity in the BCC cluster demands an on-time completion of the BE addition. The plan to build out the shell space at Westbrook Elementary has been canceled. We understand the reasoning behind this project cancellation and accept that every cluster has to share the pain of the county executive's disappointing CIP budget proposal. So we are not here to ask for everything on our list. But given that we will now have less space at Westbrook, it is even more risky, in our opinion, to delay our plans to add space at BE. As we grow and grow, there will now be no release valve in our pressure cooker of a cluster. Furthermore, the proposed site selection for the new joint BCC-WJ cluster elementary school that will be further north in the WJ cluster suggests that it will not be as conveniently situated to absorb as much growth from the BCC cluster. All along, we have maintained that WJ alone may need all of this space in a new elementary school, so it is only prudent that we keep this BE project on track and on schedule. We know that you have difficult decisions to make, and we understand that we have to adapt, adjust, and make do without the Westbrook addition. We believe that it is in everyone's best interest, though, to move ahead as planned with the proposed BE addition schedule. Adding the space at BE as planned provides the space we need for our own cluster, but also offers some relief to WJ. Thank you for your hard work in tight spots as you consider the needed improvements in our cluster. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and for your service to our community.
Thank you.
At this time, we will hear from Emily Beckman from the Walter Johnson Cluster.
Thank you, President Evans and members of the board. In 2016, recognizing the overwhelming growth in school enrollment in our cluster and unabating housing turnover and development, the Walter Johnson Cluster advocated that a site selection process begin for a 7th elementary school in our cluster. Back then, the Lux Manor RevX was already in the CIP, almost doubling the school's capacity, and was anticipated to relieve overcrowding at Farmland and possibly Ashburton elementary schools. Although directed by the board to move forward with site selection, MCPS did not do so the following school year. In 2017, you once again voted to conduct a site selection process, and in 2018, the Walter Johnson Cluster participated in that process together with MCPS and Parks and Planning staff and a variety of community stakeholders. These volunteers from the community met multiple times, evaluated a variety of sites, invested their time, expertise, and attention in evaluating those sites, and overwhelmingly recommended the Grosvenor Center as the best site for a new elementary school. The results of that process were ignored. This past year, our cluster again participated in another site selection analysis, this time including evaluating the needs of the BCC cluster and additional potential sites within the BCC cluster. Rather than convene a group of community representatives who commit to pour their time and attention into meetings and site evaluations, MCPS decided to seek broader community input through open meetings and a survey. Again, the voice of the Walter Johnson Cluster community was clear. We support the selection of the Grosvenor Center site. The positive attributes of the Grosvenor Center site are well documented. It is centrally located to current overcrowding in our cluster. It is large enough to accommodate a large 750-seat elementary school of the type MCPS now prefers. It has a history as an elementary school and a local community that supports its reopening and reassignment of their children to Grosvenor. We recognize that there are also some attractive features of the WMAL site, such as the 100% dedication of the land and the retention of Grosvenor as a holding facility. However, we note that after Lux Manor vacates the Grosvenor Center this summer, there is only one school scheduled to occupy the Grosvenor Center during the remainder of the current 6-year CIP. In addition, the relatively nearby Radnor holding facility is not scheduled to be in use at all during the 6-year CIP after Potomac Elementary vacates this summer. And as stated in our prior CIP testimony, we remain interested in working with MCPS to identify alternative facilities that might serve as holding schools, such as the Kensington site being vacated by HOC or Carl Sandburg. Given the amount of time we have spent engaging in the site selection process, this community deserves a full evaluation and consideration of alternate holding sites. With respect to the dedication of land, we know that as development in our cluster proceeds, that land will be needed by MCPS for an additional elementary school. We fought to secure the WMAL dedication for MCPS, knowing that if it was not dedicated then, it would be forever unavailable to the public. Securing that dedication means the land will not be developed into houses, townhomes, apartments, or retail, and that MCPS will retain the option of using it as a school site far into the future. Reopening Grosvenor Elementary does not take away from the value of the WMAL dedication to MCPS in the years and decades to come. Finally, I would like to say a word about the timing and funding for this and other important MCPS capital projects. The Walter Johnson Cluster is outraged at the county executive's cuts to the board's requested CIP and at the inevitable delays in desperately needed capital projects that those cuts would require. We stand with the Board of Education, the Northwood community, the DCC, and all affected communities throughout the county in demanding that the county executive and county council find a way to adequately fund our schools and their capital and operating needs. Every single project in the board CIP is necessary, and many are long overdue. We will continue to see overcrowding at the elementary level if the CIP projects are not kept on schedule. Years ago, when the Lux Manor RevX was planned, the additional capacity at Lux Manor was expected to relieve overcrowding at Farmland and hopefully also at Ashburton. Now nearing completion, the new Lux Manor facility is expected to open this fall at capacity, with no ability to relieve overcrowding at any nearby schools. Overcrowded schools do not provide a good learning environment for students, as you just heard from our wonderful fifth grader earlier this evening. Overcrowding affects lunch times, access to computer labs and other specialized spaces, class sizes, and most importantly, student safety. Larger and larger schools are not the answer. MCPS must open additional elementary schools, and Grosvenor Center is an ideal site on which to do so. We ask the board not to eliminate Grosvenor from consideration for this elementary school project. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Kim Hayden from the Clarksburg cluster.
Good evening. I'm here tonight representing the Clarksburg cluster as the MCCPTA cluster coordinator. When I first heard about the amendment to the CIP, I had a few thoughts. One, this could be a good out-of-the-box way to save some money. Two, this is a great way to get everyone into a nice new building and the whole community of staff and families can go together. Three, no boundary study. Four, pre-K programs could be moved to CES, potentially alleviating overcapacity issues at other area schools. And five, my 3 a.m. thought was Craig Rice just advocated to move forward with the Observation Drive project. And I'm pretty sure Clarksburg Elementary School is sitting very close to the vicinity of that project, if not right in the middle of the projected Observation Drive or the transit components related to that project. No matter how good all that may have sounded at the time, as I began talking to community members, it became clear. A building for 740 students isn't going to fit everyone. As it stands, Clarksburg Elementary is already sitting at 640 students, and 74 students are being enrolled so far for the 2021 kindergarten. During the board meeting on February 27th, we heard board members asking questions about projected enrollments and the increasing development in Clarksburg. I enlisted the help of several community members to do a little research, and I'm here to tell you today there is cause for concern. You need a plan that will accommodate projections that are much higher than what's being presented. Here is a snapshot of what's already been approved and is in motion in the Clarksburg area. Excuse me. There are 1,805 approved, yet to be built homes. Approved. Slide 4. Here we go. Using the 2018 MCPS student generation rates by region and housing type formula, that translates to 403 elementary school students, 188 middle school students, 239 high school students. Cabin Branch has 1,093 homes yet to be built. Garnkirk Farms has 305 homes yet to be built. Linthicum West has 252 homes yet to be built. Dowden Station has 105 homes yet to be built. Tapestry, half of which is in the Clarksburg Elementary service area, has 33 homes yet to be built within the service area. Shiloh Church Road, Shepherd Property, Boyd's Highlands, Black Hills Estates, Clement West have 14 more homes yet to be built. With all the approved development that happens, we still see signs like these for community reviews of development proposals. Still. Creekside at Cabin Branch and Ashford Woods have proposed 690 more homes yet to be approved. Using the same formula, this equates to another 300 school-age students, including 148 at the elementary level. Let me remind you, these are not just in Clarksburg. These approved developments and proposed developments are all within the Clarksburg Elementary service area. We aren't convinced that by 2020 or 2023, the students from Clarksburg Elementary will remain under the 740 student capacity of the new building. In the fall of 2021, it is determined that CES really should remain open. When would the boundary study happen if they shouldn't? What would the scope of that study be? In the end, with the 5 initial thoughts I started with and this is how my thinking has changed. So this could be a good out-of-the-box way to save money, but for how long? This is a great way to get everybody into a nice new building and the whole community of staff and families to go together, but seeing the numbers coming from the development, they'll likely end up overcrowded very quickly. No boundary study is needed. But with all that presented here, I think the growth requires it. Pre-K programs could be moved to Clarksburg Elementary, potentially alleviating overcapacity issues at other area schools. Currently, only half of the Clarksburg cluster schools have pre-K programs, so it may not be as big of an impact. Observation Drive project. Clarksburg community needs this project sooner rather than later. Therefore, we have to have a thoughtful approach to this issue to ensure we minimize the conflict between what's best for students and infrastructure needs of the community. On March 23rd, you have to make a decision. That decision will partially be made based on enrollment projections over the next 2 or 3 to 6 years. To put that into perspective, you have the rest.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Michelle Mahler from the Northwood Cluster.
All right, good evening, President Evans, Vice President Wolf, Board of Education members, and members of the community. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening about the proposed amendments to the CIP for Silver Spring International, Sligo Creek Elementary, and Highland View Elementary. Those school communities are very surprised by the suddenness of these changes and are still trying to process and understand their scope and the possible effects on their school communities and their children. The overall feeling is that this process is too rushed and that MCPS has not given careful consideration to the effects of moving a school, splitting up a school community, and how the proposed changes will affect construction plans that had been discussed with these school communities over the past 2 years. These changes were presented to the Board of Education last week, but Sligo Creek only had a meeting with MCPS representatives on Tuesday of this week, and Highland View had its meeting just yesterday. There has yet to be a meeting with the Silver Spring International community. Only the parents in attendance at these meetings had an opportunity to ask questions, which represents just a small fraction of the school community and does not accurately reflect the demographics of the school's populations. As a cluster coordinator, I submitted questions to the staff members who are responsible for these changes, and I have yet to receive an answer. We know that there is a tight turnaround time for this decision to be made, but that is no excuse for lack of communication and information. Giving these school communities mere days or even hours to process and form opinions on these changes is unfair in the extreme. As you know, Sligo Creek has French immersion and academy programs that have been part of the school curriculum for many years. The Sligo Creek community has yet to hear a satisfactory answer of how the French immersion program will be moved, or even where it will be moved, since the proposal is to split the school between 2 sites. They are understandably concerned about students being separated from their teachers, friends, and a tight-knit community that has formed over the years. They are also concerned that a school that is situated in a highly walkable community adjacent to downtown Silver Spring will be moved across Route 29, a major thoroughfare where pedestrian routes are rated unacceptable by the Montgomery County Planning Department. This move will put many more students on buses who are currently able to walk to their school. Sligo Creek parents were told that the Parkside site could only be modified to a capacity of 450 to 500 students. For a popular immersion program, and even according to MCPS's standards for elementary school size, this school site is too small. The option to add space to Highland View would be for an even smaller number. Highland View has also expressed concerns about the rushed nature of this new plan and the incomplete or sometimes total lack of information, and how little of this plan has been completely thought through by MCPS. Highland View provided its community with a summary of the CIP meeting in English, Spanish, and in Amharic within hours of the meeting yesterday. MCPS did not. Outreach to the Highland View community has been rushed and has missed major demographic groups that make up the community. Highland View also has concerns about adding even more bus and pedestrian traffic to its narrow, sidewalk-less streets. Safety improvements in the surrounding neighborhood should be part of any plan to expand Highland View and add more students from Sligo Creek. As far as Sims, though I know they would appreciate the extra classroom space that is currently part of Sligo Creek, they have not had a community meeting or any direct communication from MCPS about how these changes will affect their planned renovation, how the changes will work with the expected opening of the Purple Line, or when the new plan for renovations will be started or finished. Even though it seems that Sims may be the only winner in all of this, they still deserve clear communication from MCPS and the courtesy of a meeting to discuss the changes to their plan. Along with the possible delay of the Northwood and Woodward renovation projects, this has been a lot for the community to absorb in the past few days. Some parents have or will have children in all 3 levels who are impacted, in elementary, in middle, and in high school. The overwhelming sense I get when talking with community members is that we want a more complete plan, more time to discuss and think about it. A few hours or a few days is simply not enough. And MCPS has put the whole cluster in a very difficult position by asking them to comment on a plan we do not have enough information about and that we have not had enough time to consider. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next portion of our agenda is for individuals or organizations to come and speak, and so now we will hear from Wendy Calhoun. Thank you.
So as a result of my activism over the past decade, many Ashburton community members have reached out to me directly. I speak on their behalf and not for the WJ cluster, as Emily did so eloquently earlier. I also speak with permission from the West Fernwood Citizens Association, a direct neighbor of the WMAL site. Their children attend the overcrowded Ashburton Elementary School. Because Ashburton has been so overcrowded for 9 years, and all WJ cluster elementary schools are already planned to be at or over capacity, the board voted in November 2016 for MCPS to conduct a site selection process for an elementary school. The process never started. In November 2017, the board voted again for MCPS to do the site selection. This time it happened. An advisory committee, including PTAs from all of our elementary schools, 4 community associations, and 11 staff members from 4 different county agencies participated. The overwhelming choice was the Grosvenor site. Its rating was 146, White Flint 13, the White Flint alternative 76, and WMAL 60. As the scores attest, WMAL received less than 50% the rating of the Grosvenor site. In November 2018, the board took no action on the selected Grosvenor site, instead voting for a capacity study with WJ and BCC. But WJ schools had no room for additional capacity. Plus, many sites rejected in that earlier site selection were needlessly reevaluated in this duplicative effort. And despite there not being one site to serve both the WJ and BCC clusters well. In June 2019, MCPS held a meeting at Ashburton with hundreds of families wanting to know what was happening to relieve overcrowding at Ashburton. As it turns out, nothing. Again. MCPS held 2 meetings in October of 2019, one at Ashburton, which the community again made crystal clear that Grosvenor was their first choice. Last week, MCPS suggested to the board that only new development sites be considered, WMAL and White Flint. These multiple studies and meetings delay a desperately needed solution. Why has MCPS wasted thousands of dollars and countless hours of county employee and community members' time repeating studies and suggesting a site that the community clearly wants, only to now say it won't be considered? If the choice is to retain Grosvenor as a holding school site now, why? There are other more centrally located sites, and Bethesda already has the Radnor site. The Kensington HOC or even a White Flint site could be used as a holding school. I would like MCPS to please provide the rationale for not following the outcome of their own selection process. Board members have mentioned that an urban school is needed and not a large ranch-style school. That's a building design issue, not a location issue. And WMAL is not an urban site. It is located between 2 well-established single-family home neighborhoods that will soon be adding 309 new single-family and townhomes. This is about location. The community repeatedly has chosen an MCPS offered solution site that is available. Please honor the request the community has made repeatedly and again consider the Grosvenor site. If you choose not to do that, we ask you make very clear why not and transparently convey the rationale behind rejecting a viable option. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Calhoun has been gracious enough to come back again to speak to us on behalf of Melissa McKenna. We will now hear from Ms. Calhoun again.
Okay. Good evening. I'm obviously not Melissa McKenna. My name is Wendy Calhoun, and I've been entrusted with her message to you this evening. This year's CIP amendments are a mixed bag. My reaction ranged from, thanks for listening, to, oops, you did it again. Thank you for listening to the NEC and removing the additions to Cresthaven and Roscoe Nix elementary schools. The community wasn't on board with the potential school reassignments, and the innovative school year calendar at only one of the schools was a concern. No more delays in Clarksburg. This will become a 2-year delay from the original September 21st opening date. Had WIMS, Snowden Farms, and Clarksburg Elementary School number 9 been built on schedule, school capacity would have kept pace with housing development. Do the right thing. Keep Clarksburg Elementary School number 9 on track. By attempting a BCC-WJ elementary school solution, you have repeated the mistake made in the Gaithersburg cluster in WJ. Too many studies, and not following the conclusion from the first study. For WJ, the long slog to a new elementary school started in the fall of 2015 with the WJ Cluster Roundtable held in early 2016. The answer then was a 7th elementary school. The Selection Advocacy Committee recommendation in July 2019 was very clear: Grosvenor. Unfortunately, a location to serve both of these clusters will not relieve farmland. Farmland is over capacity, in moratorium, and will remain that way. The choice of Grosvenor by the community was interpreted as a choice for a larger school site. That was your lens, not ours. Did you think that maybe Grosvenor was chosen because it was the best location? Yes, we need elementary holding schools. We also need a middle school holding school. Perhaps it's time to make one that does double duty. Please move forward with WJ Elementary School number 7 at the Grosvenor for the right reason, because that is where the new school is needed, just like Kelly Park is the right site in Gaithersburg. There's one non-recommendation reduction that I must call particular attention to. The free donated 32-acre site for Crown High School will expire in August 2026. Truth is, only the first 2 years of the CIP matter. The Crown Farm owners understood this and stipulated in the annexation agreement that the new school is fully funded for construction in the first 2 years of the applicable CIP for use as a school site. Should construction funding slip beyond FY 24 and 25, the county's only new high school site will be lost. It is imperative to keep Crown on schedule. Finally, thank you, Ms. Dixon, for your gentle caveat during the work session to notify all affected school communities of these amendments. As a member of the Black and Brown Coalition, I ask MCPS to reach out through the NAACP Parent Council, LSAG, and the Chinese American Parent Association in Montgomery County to ensure all of our diverse communities are aware of what's going on and have an opportunity to participate. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to pause for just a second to see if board members have any questions. I skipped that, and I don't see any lights. No questions? All right, so we can go ahead. At this time, we will hear from Adam Longo.
President Evans, members of the board, Dr. Smith, good evening. My name is Adam Longo, and I'm here to address you in opposition of the proposed amendment to close Clarksburg Elementary School in September of 2022. I currently have 2 kids at Clarksburg Elementary School, and next year I will have 3. So I know when I send my kids off to school each morning, I don't have to worry because I know that they're in good and capable hands. My worry instead rests with the decisions made by Montgomery County leaders when it comes to the Clarksburg area. I know that none of you live in Clarksburg, but man, it's the Wild West up there. A cumulative lack of foresight and planning by the planning board, the county council, and this board has led to an explosion of development and growth, while infrastructure and education have come at an afterthought. So my biggest question for everyone on all of these boards is this one. Why aren't we building schools and roads at the same time that we're building these new neighborhoods? One step at a time, though, I want to get to the meat of what we're all here to discuss. The numbers and projections that this board will use to make its decision are wrong. I've got enrollment projection documents here that were introduced to the board in November of 2017, so 2 years and 3 months ago, produced by the Site Selection Advisory Committee for CES number 9. So just 2 years ago, it was projected that Clarksburg Elementary would have 462 students this year. Guess what? We're at 640, more than double the attended capacity of the facility. The projections for 2023 and 2024, that there'd be 589 students, 4.5 years from now. Again, we're at 640. And it's my understanding that the planning office recently estimated that CES will have 722 students in 6 years. Nice try, everyone. We're going to have that many next year. So the projections you're using to make your decisions are wrong. I urge you to connect with the great folks in your planning office and dig down deeper. Find out why the numbers are wrong. Take 15 minutes. Drive around Clarksburg. You'll see. Bring your boots, your saddle. Stop in at one of our saloons. Right now, we've got no less than 3 major neighborhood developments happening simultaneously within the Clarksburg Elementary School zone. Those are only the developments actively under construction. We needed the new number 9 elementary school like yesterday. It's already been delayed a year, and we're going around as it could be delayed another year if the capital improvement plan isn't fully funded. So it's clear to me that MCPS administration doesn't have the right vision. There is no vision on how to address the current critical overcrowding situation at Clarksburg Elementary School. There's no vision about opening a new number 9 school in 2.5 years, that if you close Clarksburg Elementary School, will be over capacity the minute it opens its doors. Now let me close by being real with you. I've been a news reporter for the past 20 years. I've spent countless hours in school board meeting rooms like this across the country. I've seen a lot. Here's one thing I haven't seen: school board members actually lending significant weight to the testimony that they hear from the public. I'd like to give this board the benefit of the doubt, but then I watched from the sidelines with what you did with the boundary changes involving Seneca Valley, Neelsville, and Cabin Branch, despite the enormous public outcry. Not cool. Now, this is the first time in my life I've ever addressed a group of elected officials in my personal capacity. Perhaps I've been jaded into thinking it was a waste of my time and it wouldn't do any good. Please prove me wrong.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from Susan Owens.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you and share my concerns regarding the proposed amendment that would close Clarksburg Elementary School upon the opening of Clarksburg Elementary number 9. I live in rural Boyds. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of my 3 children: Ethan, who is in 4th grade, Ivy, who's in 2nd, and Abigail, who will start kindergarten in the fall of 2021. They're right over there. If all goes according to plan, Abigail will have the good fortune of attending 3 new schools at Cabin Branch, Neelsville, and Seneca Valley High School. However, Ethan will not be so fortunate. When he started kindergarten at Clarksburg Elementary in 2015, in one of 2 kindergarten classes, the school's population was under the building's capacity of 311 students. As parents new to the school system, we had the usual fears and anxieties, compounded by the fact that Ethan has a peanut allergy, and we needed to know that the staff would recognize if he were having an allergic reaction. Fast forward 5 years, my anxieties about his school situation are enormous. The school now has 640 students and a utilization rate of over 200%. His compacted math class has grown so large, at one point it had 37 students. The groups of 10 are taken to the cafeteria with a para-educator because there isn't enough space in the portable for everyone. At recess, there are so many kids that I regularly hear of parent volunteers feeling overwhelmed and being unable to police all corners of the playground. Earlier this year, my son was thrown to the ground and punched repeatedly, and no adult even saw it. Our principals have done an outstanding job at managing the overcrowding, but our school cannot handle many more students. Physically, we are bursting at the seams. My concern today is that the enrollment projections for Clarksburg Elementary School service area are wrong. The projections that were released in January predict that our school will have 0 growth next year. We already have 34 more kindergarten students enrolled for the fall than we have 5th grade graduates. This means we will have a minimum of 673 students, and given the fact that there are 7 new developments in the pipeline for our school service area, that number will be well above 700. There's still over 1,000 homes to be built at Cabin Branch alone. Using your projection methods, these developments can be expected to yield an additional 403 elementary school students, putting the school that will open in 2022 above 1,000 students. I've included data about these developments with my written testimony. 1,000 students is not an exaggeration, this is fact. I understand that your projections are based on a formula that works in other parts of the county, but I would propose to you that the Clarksburg Elementary School service area is an anomaly that does not fit with your normal parameters. So many developments have been approved and are breaking ground simultaneously. These homes are being filled with families, which you don't always predict. I respectfully request that you take time to consider this situation differently from your normal analysis, that you take a serious look at how many students we currently have and how many houses are already being built. I ask that while it's too late for my son, that you create a plan that will provide some relief for my daughters as they navigate the most fundamental years of their education. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Ini Okusanya.
That's the future. That's the person I'm fighting for right there, my daughter. Because Tammy is still at Clarksburg Elementary, but if this is delayed again, she'll probably be somewhere else based on what you guys are doing here. So I'm just gonna say that. You hear their voice. I'm a busy mom, and I'm here tonight. Let me just first say good evening and to the board members and Dr. Smith. My name is Anita Okusaya. I'm here today as a PTA membership chair at Clarksburg Elementary and parent to 3 wonderful children. So here we go again. The Clarksburg Cluster Number 9 Capital Improvement Plan amendment. That's what we heard last week. I am taking time out of my busy schedule. Yes, it is a crazy day for every single parent, we all know, right? So to go through the ropes of advocacy for our children. The last time that I was here, the decision was not in the favor of Clarksburg residents. Since the reboundary decision, I doubt that I have faith in MCPS system for our children because it showed that we're not heard, regardless of the advocacy by the community. During the hearing on November 14, we were not heard regardless of the advocacy by during the November, something struck a chord when Dr. Smith said something to us, that decision is not always up to them, but also the county executive. So in February of 2020, I went to testify at for the Clarksburg Cluster number 9, and even with Neilsville to be on track at the county council meeting. Yes, I am disappointed that I actually regretted that I bought a house at Cabin Branch. The builders, MCPS and council did not live up to their word to do the best for our community. Yes, I am the lady that lives across the piece of land that's supposed to be Clarksburg Elementary Cluster number 9. And it's still standing there, just a bunch of stuff. Nothing is being built. So, but the promise that the new elementary school should be built by 2019 of fall was not fulfilled. Based on the saying on no guarantee, the school is now scheduled to be built by 2022. On behalf of my family and my community, I ask that the board create an amendment that will favor our community. And we will not continue with the overcapacity at the new school, because it will probably happen. In February, I believe that the council honored the request to fund Clarksburg Cluster number 9 and stay on schedule for the building of the new school. But now we are hearing that there will be an amendment to close the historic Clarksburg Elementary School. As a constituent and a mother of 3, I believe that Clarksburg Cluster number 9 is long overdue, and we bought our house in Cabin Branch for a reason, so that our kids can have a quality education in Clarksburg. We are over capacity at the current Clarksburg Elementary School, and we will be over capacity at the new school. I'm asking you to not delay. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Karen Torres Merriweather.
President Evans, members of the board, and Dr. Smith, thank you for allowing me to testify. My name is Corinne Torres Merriweather, and I am the mother of 2 MCPS students and the president of the Clarksburg Elementary School PTA. As a school community, we have concerns about the proposed amendment that would move all students and staff to the future Clarksburg Elementary number 9 in 2022. Each day at 9:15, the bell rings and administration, teachers, counselor, yes, only one, and support staff members greet approximately 640 students entering a school building built for 300. 3 years ago, when my oldest started school, there were only 3 kindergarten classrooms. This year, my youngest is in one of 6 kindergarten classrooms. We are at 200% utilization, forcing students and teachers who cannot fit in the building to report to portable classrooms. Last year, students had music classes on the stage in the cafeteria. As a result of the growth in Clarksburg, parents and visitors have been unable to find parking for events until we started offering 2 to 3 shifts to accommodate everyone. This is unacceptable. The 2021 CIP has Clarksburg at 606 students, 34 fewer students than are currently enrolled. Inaccurate. Projections for FY22 have us at 646, only 6 more students than now, and for FY23, 689. Finally, moving in the right direction to accommodate the growth of our neighborhoods, but still inaccurate. If you've been to Clarksburg and seen the growth of our community, you know these numbers are inaccurate. We know that the projected numbers do not include the numerous approved housing developments that will send students to our school. Relief comes in the form of Clarksburg number 9, opening in 2022. However, the new building is only projected to hold 740 students, only 100 more than are currently enrolled. Why would the Board of Education allow for students to be taken out of one overutilized situation just to outgrow a new building in 1 year? Our community is asking that MCPS and the board be transparent about the data that is being used to make decisions for overutilized schools like Clarksburg. Make decisions based on actual numbers, build trust with the community, and do what's right for all students. Over the next 2 school years, as our community waits for the new school, at 9:15, staff will greet over half of our students who will report to portables. Unacceptable. There will be less funding for supplies, classroom needs, special education, and paraeducator support. Unacceptable. The parents, students, and staff members of Clarksburg Elementary are asking that you do not relocate everyone to Clarksburg number 9 when it opens in 2022. We need and want both buildings to be in operation as elementary schools to serve the existing and future Clarksburg and Boyd's neighborhoods. As you continue to make decisions that affect students, parents, please be proactive and transparent. Thank you.
At this time, we will hear from Mark Matliff. Okay, I don't see him. Now we will hear from Lyda Foy, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Lydia Foy. We love Clarksburg Elementary School. It is an amazing place and community. While it's true that people are more important than buildings, sometimes a building is an anchor for a community. That is the case with Clarksburg Elementary. The building is charming, comfortable, and clean, and it is the perfect size for an elementary school. I was deeply disturbed by the last board meeting. Some speakers favored building elementary schools more than 3 stories high, which is a safety risk for students in wheelchairs and harder for young children to navigate. Many families prefer a smaller school. It's my belief that smaller schools are better for students, faculty, and parents. Several of Clarksburg's teachers are the same ones who taught members of my family in the past. Growing up in Boyd's, I actually attended at Fox Chapel for the magnet program, while my younger siblings went to Clarksburg Elementary and thrived. 11 years ago, my niece went to Clarksburg when it was at its proper size. She had a great education and is now in the Arts and Humanities program at Poolsville with a straight A record. When I got married, I moved back to Maryland, specifically to be near a certain small school in the rural town of Clarksburg. My kindergartner is in the 3rd wave of children from our family to attend this excellent elementary school. Even though the school has more students now, my child is still having a wonderful experience, just as his cousin, aunt, and uncle did back in earlier years. It's just proof that this little school can do amazing things, and everyone should respect that. This is a picture of a dogwood tree planted by one of the kindergarten classes. There's something to be said about stability. If you shut down our school and send everyone to a brand new building, all the trees at the school will be left behind. There are several beautiful mature trees in front of the school: pine, spruce, deciduous trees. The road to the school is lined with a forest where the children pass by trees and plants which are native to this part of Maryland on their way to and from school every day. This connection to nature is very important to me. The sense of being in a small rural town is still alive at the school's original location near the historic Main Street. If you take Clarksburg Elementary, which is named for the town, away from the center of town, you lose the character and history of the school. If you put pre-K in the building, it will probably put the preschool next door out of business. We love our school, and we don't want to dissolve into a new, bigger school. It's my belief that the identity of Clarksburg Elementary would disappear. I highly doubt you could ever restore what was lost. Sending Clarksburg Elementary to the new building would not be good.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Joe Shishati. Did I say it right?
You did this time. Thank you. Sorry. Oh, thanks. Members of the board, my name is Joe Shishati. I'm a parent, and this may be the 4th time I've come to speak with you about Sligo Creek and Sims. I apologize for having no written testimony. There was simply no time. I'd consider providing such after the fact. Kidding aside, timely engagement is key. It was requested and promised a year ago and started briefly last spring. It was with astonishment, however, that we heard staff affirm to you a week ago that there had been this outreach recently. Any effective communication to our school, our PTA, our designated representatives, and even apparently to our principal ceased last June. This, despite monthly queries on our part to those staff involved. Now we are asked to provide input without detail and on short notice. So I'm here to ask several things. Consider more alternatives that would provide consistency of expectation for families. Try to keep Sligo Creek whole. Better use Parkside properties to address needs. Don't make assumptions. We might be okay with boundary studies. I don't know, but we might. The DCC School Site Selection Advisory Committee process was flawed, enough so that there were minority reports filed. These evidenced artificially constrained options about the site. This is part of the problem in a nutshell. If there is not robust, timely engagement, options are never properly considered, much less presented to us, you, the county, or the Planning Commission. Ensure that any decision today lets no ship sail. We have to be able to remediate fully to proper engagement. Keep the MCPS promises from the PTA meetings recently. Students will be fully safe during construction. French immersion will be maintained between the two schools and at Sims. Resulting appearance and service levels will be as good as recent new construction to provide equity to our service area. Don't make this process artificially pit legitimate community interests against each other by adopting a take it or leave it approach. And come back to us, for goodness sakes. We were the ones who kickstarted thoughts about Parkside at the time as an alternative to existing holding schools. Together, we can be as proud of our school system as we are of our kids, their teachers, and our school communities. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Fernando Carrillo and Patricia Rivera. Okay. And so now we will move on to our next speaker, Viju Krishnan.
Hi, my name is Vaiju Krishnan, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself and for my community that is going, a part of it is going to the Clarksburg Elementary School. And today I want to provide testimony on both the Clarksburg Elementary School and the proposal to delay ES number 9. The amendment to shut down Clarksburg ES makes no sense on multiple levels. The subdivision staging policy that is used to make projections for school facility needs has been spectacularly wrong over the years, especially in the Clarksburg area. Wilson Wims ES was overutilized literally on the first day it opened, and it's fast approaching 200%. Same case with Clarksburg ES. It was supposed to be for 311, and now it's at 640. Utilizing any current projections for Cabin Branch to justify closing Clarksburg ES is a recipe for disaster, given the level of exponential growth that is happening in Clarksburg. There is a new Tapestry development right on Frederick Road that will feed to Clarksburg ES and add additional students in addition to what's happening at Cabin Branch. Moving Clarksburg ES students to Cabin Branch will also put those walkers into buses, which is exactly the opposite of what MCPS claims in terms of maximizing walkers. There's also no clearly identified use for the building in place of the Clarksburg ES, so it appears that it's not well thought through. MCPS should wait and see what the final numbers are for Cabin Branch ES number 9 after it opens, instead of short-sighted decisions on closing down fully functional neighborhood schools in the area. We also strongly urge MCPS board to demand solid justification from the DCP and operations team under oath on any numbers that they provide, and so that they are held accountable for any unverified projections or proposals that are put up for board approval. During the recent Clarksburg SVHS boundary study during community meetings, DCP staff emphasized repeatedly that ES boundaries will not be touched. If you're in Clarksburg ES, you get to go to your ES. If you're in Little Bennett, you will be there. The ink on that contentious board boundary study has not dried, yet MCPS is effectively looking to change part of the Clarksburg ES boundary by proposing the school closure. Technically, it's not part of the boundary study, but the communities there feel understandably lied to or bait and switched. Such proposals only further erode the confidence and trust in both the MCPS planning department and the board as to whether they truly care about the community concerns and feedbacks. Our communities are already suffering from the overutilization of Clarksburg High School, which was not sufficiently addressed by the recent boundary study, though it was stated as the main goal of that study. Please don't allow short-sighted decisions at the ES level also, given that many policies are inaccurate, such as the staging policy, or are in flux, such as the recent boundary review analyses. All of these need to be looked at carefully before making any changes that we, not you, have to live with. In summary, we need both ES number 9 to open on time and have the current Clarksburg Elementary School to remain open to address the remaining and the growing capacity needs of Cabin Branch and Clarksburg area. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We're now at board questions. I don't see any lights, so I'm gonna keep moving. Are you, Ms. Silvestri?
I just wanted to, I know some people leave kind of midway through, so I just wanted to emphasize that no one here wants to delay any of the projects. The CIP that was developed was based on what we know is needed in all of our school communities. So we hear you, and we're trying to make the best of what we have available. But you are providing feedback to us, and we appreciate you being here with us tonight. Right now, the decisions are at the County Council, and so we'll wait to see what they deliberate and then take your testimony into consideration as we make the further decisions about what to do. Thank you for being here tonight.
I just want to piggyback on Ms. Silvestri's comments. We've been asked to provide a list of non-recommended cuts. I mean, the key term is non-recommended. It's not what any of us want, but the County Council has asked for that. The end of the whole CIP process will not occur until May. Right before Memorial Day, we'll have the final number after the legislature has acted, and we know what we will get from the Build to Learn Act. But right now, we are in the unenviable position of having to make some serious, non-recommended, non-desirable recommendations to the County Council. And it not only impacts schools currently in the CIP, but it creates a domino effect. We have the double process of aging and overcrowded schools.
So we'll go on other lights going forward. Ms. Dixon?
Yeah. I just wanted to thank Lydia Foy for her testimony. I was really moved by what you had to say about your school and small schools. I really do believe in smaller elementary schools. The problem with it all is that, they become cost prohibitive, but I understand exactly what you're saying. And I'd like to take a little visit up there to Clarksburg Elementary. Thank you.
Thank you. So seeing no more lights, we'll continue on. At this time, we will hear from Michael Welsh. Cut your light on, Mr. Welsh. The button's right on your microphone, right beneath it. Should be like a...
All right, thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Once again, my name is Michael Welsh, and I'm a resident of the North Hills community in Silver Spring. I'm here today to voice my strong opposition to any potential school development on the Parkside property, which I am an immediate neighbor. Due to time constraints, I'm delivering an abridged version of this testimony to the one I submitted earlier in the week. I served on the DCC Elementary Site Committee in 2017 to evaluate new potential school sites. Over the course of several months, the committee's nearly 30 county and community member team assessed around a dozen sites, including the Parkside building and its surrounding 11 acres. Ultimately, the county's study of the Parkside site concluded, quote, "This is the most challenging site to develop due to the topography, forest stand, and floodplains," end quote. In 2018, the committee agreed with the county's assessment and recommended the county-owned Forest Grove Elementary as the site. However, the committee was ultimately neither informed of the school superintendent's thoughts on their recommendations nor next steps. 4 days ago, I received an email from Montgomery County Public Schools declaring their intent to explore the use of the Parkside property for an indeterminate number of Sligo Creek kids. I was puzzled by the email's disingenuous caveat that the, quote, complexities of the purple line have influenced their decision. Were these complexities unrealized or ignored when the purple line's route was initially proposed? That aside, their email stated that the site may not accommodate the full enrollment of Sligo Creek, which currently sits at around 680. Although Sligo has a French immersion program, the board hasn't decided how to split the student body between Parkside and Highland View, the latter of which is already 100 students over capacity. To say nothing of the parking situation in our neighborhood and the flood of vehicles from cars and buses that would be daily drop-offs. Even if the school board's plan is to use the existing Parkside building as the future school, it would clearly be unable to handle the proposed student body of 450 to 500 students. Sligo Creek Elementary is approximately 4 times larger than the existing park building. One can logically conclude that the existing Parkside building would definitely need to be significantly expanded or realistically rebuilt entirely. Even though the DCC committee voted against this Parkside, I always suspected that they had held it in their back pocket. Let me cite a few examples as precedent for my cynicism. The county's 1994 plan to build Montgomery Blair on the golf course, Sligo Creek Golf Course. While I was president of the Civic Association, the park department's clandestine middle-of-the-night approval of the Revenue Authority's proposal to render the existing golf course useless with a miniature golf and driving range, then to shutter it when they didn't get their way, and the county's recent proposal to eliminate bus routes. Our neighborhood is under siege, clearly, and it only underscores the feeling that the county is not helping us.
We have your written testimony. We appreciate you coming. At this time, we will hear from Nadine Aridi. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Dear members of the Board of Education, I'm here today to provide testimony to the CIP amendment related to Clarksburg Cluster Elementary School number 9. So we moved from Montgomery Village to Kayway Commons community in Clarksburg in 2016, and the main reason behind the move is to provide healthy and strong education environment to our kids, based on the fact that our kids will attend Clarksburg Elementary School. As a family, we've always been Montgomery County residents, and my son is a Clarksburg Elementary School student since 2018, and we're hoping that our second kid will be a CES student too. Being one of Gateway Commons community families, we like the fact that it is a small, calm, and safe community. We feel like CES is a hidden gem and a main part of our community. This school gives a charming sense of a small community which makes students feel safe and that CES is their second home. Mr. Bensel, the principal, and the staff do a great job making sure all students feel welcomed and are part of the CES family. Mr. Bensel really made a huge positive impact on CES since he joined 4 to 5 years ago. He created this small community feel to welcome parents to be part of the school by volunteering, conducting heritage nights, spring cleaning events, and other events that most of us parents and students will look forward to attend. Mr. Bensel is one of the few principals that you see welcoming students and staff every single morning and making sure everything is on track. I do not know how he really manages his time between his busy schedule, being available to welcome students and staff every day, and attending parents' school meetings. As you all know, CES was constructed for 311 students, but the current never-ending housing development increase, the house has 638, the school, sorry, has 638 students and might have around 100 more next year. The belief is that Clarksburg Elementary School number 9 will have availability for 740 students. The housing development is growing up so fast in Clarksburg, and in 6 years, the new Clarksburg Elementary School number 9 will not have spots adequate for the influx and the volume of students coming with the new housing development. This emphasizes on the need of keeping Clarksburg Elementary School open. The proposal to move all Clarksburg Elementary the proposal to move all Clarksburg Elementary students to Clarksburg Elementary School number 9, once open, is concerning. This school, Clarksburg Elementary School, means a lot to the students and families in the community. This change, if approved, it will be challenging for the kids. They will be pulled out of their current comfortable foundation. This will affect our kids negatively, and we feel that it is a change that's not needed and not beneficial. With the proposal, it looks like a new problem is being created rather than a problem being solved. In addition to that, our kids will have to ride the buses for a longer distance, which is an additional problem, basically, and cost to MCPS and less safety to our kids. We don't want our kids to lose their school with the hope that, thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Can read the rest, I guess. And
Yes,
there's
we
letters
do.
from the kids, please read them.
Thank you. We will. At this time, we will hear from Chris Meyer. Or is it Mayor?
Hello, I would like to share my viewpoint as a parent of kids at Sligo Creek Elementary. The way in which this project at Silver Spring International has been handled has eliminated any shred of hope in my mind that MCPS considers the well-being of its students. What we are evaluating here is the latest in a string of attempts to build something, anything, without considering the impacts to the students, resulting in repeated upwellings of anger from parents, followed by delays and then scope creep. This mess started as a middle school renovation to bring the gym inside the main building. The project has since spawned out of control, expanding to disrupt potentially 3 schools, while failing at each step to notify the affected schools prior to the decisions being made. This Franken project now lacks any clear objective. Is it to address overcrowding? Both Sligo Creek and Silver Spring International are basically at capacity, while other nearby schools face greater capacity issues. Is it to protect students from the purple line? A fence would go a long way. Is it to keep kids out of the elements? A breezeway would solve that. Rather, with the latest proposal, the middle school renovation has become the front bill player for 2 new elementary school projects. Meanwhile, the elementary school would be replaced with one having far less capacity. And those kids who would no longer fit, well, they would be sent to a school that is already 50% over capacity. I am not seeing any upside to this. Our kids deserve a plan with long-term vision and clear objectives where they are not being repeatedly shuffled around so that the bureaucrats can claim quick funding disbursements and project completion. Realize that incorporating the proposed amendment into the capital improvement plan would be done without support from any sizable contingent of any of the schools or communities affected. I appreciate the offer to spend $40 million on our community, but let's do it in a way that actually benefits the kids. Want to build an addition to Highland View to solve their overcrowding? Great. Then you should approve it as a separate project with its own timeline and goals, not hidden and linked to a middle school gym renovation. Want to build a new elementary school in our area? Fantastic. Let's come up with a plan for the area that actually addresses deficiencies. Want to secure the campus against the purple line? You need to do it today. The kids walk unescorted through publicly accessible areas. A protected walkway to the middle school would solve a lot of problems and get warm reception. Most importantly, MCPS needs to hold listening sessions before decisions are made. The current proposal lacks consensus or community support, and I urge you to reject the proposed amendment affecting Silver Spring International Middle and Sligo Creek Elementary.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Gia Lee.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to provide public comments on this important issue. I'm here on behalf of Acorn Hill Waldorf Kindergarten and Nursery, which is located on Brunette Avenue in Silver Spring, the site being considered for the relocation of Sligo Creek Elementary. Acorn Hill is a nonprofit education center that offers early childhood programs from birth to age 6. The school has been located at the Brunette Avenue site for the last 40 years under a lease with Montgomery County and has served the community for more than 55 years. The school has over 20 employees and offers classes to over 100 students in a year. The school is beloved in the local community and has provided high-quality early childhood education to hundreds of children and families over the years. The curriculum includes substantial outdoor times in the beautiful wooded play area, as well as experiential learning curriculum. The school is also an active member of the broader community, providing summer programs, adult education, diversity events available to the public. Many of our children go on to Montgomery County Public Schools, and the parents become active members of the school community, contributing to improving local public schools. Over the years, Acorn Hill has made substantial investments to the site. That includes improvements and maintenance of the facility and the infrastructure, including removal of asbestos, roof replacement, HVAC replacement, and new flooring, windows, and sewer lines. We have also maintained and improved the outdoor playgrounds and ground area. The school is now having 2 outdoor classrooms and an organic biodynamic garden, which has been integrated into the curriculum. The grounds at Acorn Hill are certified as wildlife habitat, and we are very proud the playgrounds are open to the public after hours. We understand the current proposed renovation plan will not displace Acorn Hill's building or grounds, but we also appreciate that the plans for the project have changed over time. And we ask that the board include this commitment in the project plan. We further hope to obtain a long-term lease from the county so the school can make solid plans for the future. We submitted a map. As you can see, Acorn Hill and the Parks building share the same small access road from Burnett Avenue, and many families walk or bike their children to school. We ask that you timely advise the community regarding any plan for mitigating transportation, environmental, and other adverse effects from construction, provided that would happen. Acorn Hill treasures the location and the community it serves. We hope that the outcome will allow the school to continue its programs at the current location. And we appreciate the board's careful consideration of the effects of this relocation plan that may have on Acorn Hill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Birgit Berg.
Dear members of the board, good evening. I am here tonight because my daughter is a kindergarten student in the French Immersion program at Sligo Creek Elementary School. The French Immersion program at Sligo Creek is a regional program that serves half the county. Students are chosen by lottery. The catchment area, it stretches from the DC border up to the uppermost border of John F. Kennedy High School zone. My family, for instance, lives in Wheaton, Maryland, so I'm 5 miles north of the school itself. Montgomery County's French Immersion program was the first of its kind in the United States. It started in 1974, and I think Montgomery County can proudly hold it up as one of its shining achievements. My concern today is, in your plan, how will you split the Sligo Creek students between the two schools? Moving the French Immersion plan to Highland View would seem like an easy fix. I implore you, though, to weigh this decision carefully and to investigate solutions that keep the program as part of Sligo Creek. Moving the program to a different school would be incredibly disruptive to the program and to its students and faculty. The current French Immersion program is integrated with the local school. Students share specials, teachers, after-school programs, a PTA, but more importantly, the faculty have integrated teams. English and French instructors work together on grade-level projects and events. Everyone has bought into the immersion process. They understand that French teachers will not speak English in front of students, that the school plays may be conducted in 2 languages and go on for a bit, and that the PTA may spend half its book budget on French books. The cohesion the staff at Sligo Creek have created between the program and the local school would take years to recreate at a new school. It is not as simple as unplugging it and moving it to another school and plugging it back in. The French Immersion program has been part of Sligo Creek for 20 years. A lot of work has gone into shaping the unified school community. I hope the French Immersion program is not moved out of Sligo Creek. Such a reset would take years to recover from, and the program would suffer. Please do your best to keep our kids, teachers, and staff together. And if you must move the immersion program, please do so thoughtfully. And please put it where it would not be under threat of being moved again anytime soon. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Barry Kunz.
Hi, two items that were mentioned last Thursday when discussing Sligo Creek and Sims were cost and disruption. Moving the school permanently impacts how families get there. Being in the same service area doesn't mean it remains walkable for those that are used to walking. I'd probably have to drive my child to school or face a 3-mile round-trip walk compared to my current half-a-mile walk. That is a permanent disruption instead of a temporary disruption. There are more costs than just the budget amount associated with these projects. I expect a negative cost when it comes to my home value, as I'm no longer close to an elementary school. There's also an emotional cost, not to mention the environmental cost now that I'm a driver instead of a walker. Moving the Sligo puzzle piece to Parkside will mean the end of Sligo as we know it. Going from a temporary relocation while the schools are upgraded to a different permanent home is a big change. There has to be a better creative solution, where Sligo doesn't bear the brunt of the non-monetary costs. It's obvious that Highland View needs an addition to address capacity issues. It needs to double in size. Its service area could be expanded to absorb a portion of the current Sligo service area, enough to alleviate capacity issues at Sligo. Why spend the money to upgrade and update Parkside to a 600 capacity school when you already have one at Sligo? Instead, put the money towards an addition to Sims to address their capacity issues instead of them cannibalizing Sligo. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Jana Rome.
Good evening. My name is Gianna Roan, and I'm a parent at Highland View Elementary School and a future parent at Silver Spring International Middle School and a Northwood Cluster member. On behalf of myself and the nearly 200-member Highland View PTA, I would like to speak about the need to approve the amendment to change the scope of work around the Sims expansion. As you, the board, are aware, this amendment was only recently brought to public light. It's been a surprise to our school community at Highland View and the broader neighborhood community, including Sligo Creek Elementary School. Even so, the PTA and broader community of Highland View is excited and pleased to have our decade-long request for expansion and infrastructure upgrades seriously back on the table. We thank you. Highland View's staff is excellent, but there are challenges, some of them severe, in keeping our children safe and happy in an environment that our community has outgrown. 2 of our grades are housed in portables, and I'm sure you remember that. A concern brought by over 30 parents who attended a short notice meeting yesterday about this amendment is that the existing structure requires major infrastructure improvements, and expansion without some amount of modernization will not resolve the issues at Highland View. As an example, last year a parent from Highland View came to a board meeting and held up a piece of pipe that had fallen out of a bathroom at Highland View. Fortunately, this happened on fortunately there was a staff member available on a Saturday who was there, and this plumbing event did not become a water damage event, right? Highland View parents and community members ask you to approve this amendment. As current and future parents of Silver Spring International Middle School students, we ask the board to approve this amendment. Sims has been long overdue for their expansion, and keeping the current situation as it is, especially with the Purple Line installation, is untenable. All efforts must be made to keep the Sims work front and center. This work must be completed, and it must be completed in the time allotted. This amendment gives the county the opportunity to keep the work on schedule and under budget. There is simply no way to say no. It would be irresponsible to do so. As Northwood Cluster parents, we ask that the board approve this amendment. In current academic track, our children move from crowded Highland View to overcrowded and challenging Sims to overcrowded and a maintenance nightmare Northwood, where the renovations now may be delayed due to county fiscal constraints. Please approve the Sims amendment so that we can keep Sims on track and it does not become yet another project in our cluster that is delayed. As an aside, I'm an Acorn Hill Waldorf parent, alumni, and I was pleased to learn that the county is aware of the gem that Acorn Hill is and is working to preserve the forested area around Acorn Hill and Parkside. Continuing community involvement with all the stakeholders is what will make these projects successful. Thank you.
At this time, we will hear from Heidi Galvez.
Good evening, good evening, Board of Education members and families and students.
My name is Heidi Galvez, and I'm a mother of the second grade at the Joan Lele Elementary School at the Broad Acres in Silver Spring. I would like to by the start to say thank you for your new proposal for build a new school building close to our school of growing community. Our enrollment is expected to grow and exceed capacity at a minimum of 92 seats. Although the original proposal was to send our children to different schools, we want to keep them and them in the community, and we believe this will be more beneficial for students, parents, and even staff. And we support the proposal for a new building because it is common with the possibilities of small class size, improving mental and emotional health of the students, have sufficient time to eat lunch for many students is the only meal they eat during the day, and provide better accommodation for students with special needs. They will also develop the neighborhood which supports the school, counting for the foster and greater sense of community. Our school is Title I, and in this encourage parent engagement with the proposal what can keep and grow the parent participations. Transportation is an issue for our families, and so we consider ourselves walking community. Keeping our children close will allow us have a better access to volunteer activities, school events, and meetings. Studies show a parent's engagement have positive effect on a student academic. Our students deserve this opportunity to succeed. You have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Kit Gage.
Good evening. I'm Kit Gage. I'm the Advocacy Director of Friends of Sligo Creek, and I'm a horticulturist with a specialty in native plants and stormwater issues. Two of my daughters attended Old Blair. One of my granddaughters attended Sligo Creek Elementary School, so I know that facility quite well. As well, I work a lot with parks, and I've gone to a million meetings at Parkside, so I know that facility really well too. I want to talk mostly about the Parkside facility. I understand that you may well be dealing with overcrowding and needing to change out Sligo Creek Elementary and Sims. I recommend, though Friends of Sligo Creek has not taken a position, I recommend very serious consideration of the problems that the Parkside site has. It is, as you know, a quarter the size of the Sligo Creek Elementary School, and while I understand and recognize that there's a movement to create school buildings that are tall, that'd be great in terms of the footprint of Parkside building, but it doesn't take into account all the other things that you need in a school: playing fields, parking, playgrounds, all of that for which there is zero room in that facility. And if you look at it, those who are familiar with it, it's on the top of a hill. That hillside is very steep and it's forested, and it's right next to Sligo Creek. Every time we look at a site like that, from a stormwater perspective, from a native plant perspective, from a preservation of a forest, we say, don't touch that forest. And I don't know how you can possibly amend that site and make any kind of building that will attempt to even address, half of that school and not knock out a good chunk of that forest. I really recommend you consider other sites as you consider what to do with the elementary school. If you need to move it, I really recommend considering a variety of sites which don't impinge on the environment to the extent that the Parkside site would. Thank you.
Thank you. Before moving to board questions, I just wanted to acknowledge to see if we had any more MCPS administrators and staff come in since the beginning of the hearing, and if so, just wave your hand so we can acknowledge you. Okay, thank you. All right. So at this time, we will start with Ms. Wolf with questions.
Yes, one of our speakers mentioned that the majority of us don't live in Clarksburg, and that's true, even though Clarksburg is represented, I believe, by School District 1. But the fact of the matter is we represent every student, no matter where they're located. And we're concerned about every student, no matter where they're located. So I believe that we have an upcoming bus tour to take a look at this situation in Clarksburg and sort of get a feeling for the geography and everything. Essie, right? Oh, Andy.
So yes, we're working to find opportunities to take the board members to view the areas that are involved in the amendments.
Right. That's all I want.
Thank you. So we'll go down the line. If nobody else down here? Okay. Ms. O'Neill.
Well, in thinking if the move of Sligo Creek to Parkside and the Highland View scenario, I was just thinking the gentleman was speaking, or someone spoke about moving. If you move the French immersion, you lose the cohesion. But we moved the Chinese immersion from College Gardens to Bayard Rustin, and I just wonder if you could, not now, but give us an update of how that went, what steps were taken, because it also involved the issue of the middle years program and all of that. And, I haven't heard any complaints since we made that change.
Dr. Smith?
Yes, we will provide information at our upcoming work session about how that transition went in the move of that immersion program.
Okay. Ms. Silvestri?
Yes, the purple line issue that was brought up, could you explain to us what happened there that caused MCPS to explore different options than what was originally planned for?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Steph, is that something you can comment on right now, please?
Sure. We can provide a much deeper visual and explanation at the work session, but essentially the work that Purple Line has been doing around the parking lot improvements, they have been delayed based on many unforeseen conditions on that site. So it's not necessarily just the Purple Line project, but it's the experience the Purple Line folks have had in working through the challenges on the old Blair site, which is Silver Spring International Sligo Creek site. But I can certainly come back at our work session with much more robust detail around what those issues and the challenges they've faced along the way.
Yes, Mr. Adams, let's provide those diagrams so that not only the board can see those, but the community can see and understand the challenges that were underground, if I understood that correctly, when we had these conversations over the past months.
And I just wanted to clarify that these were unforeseen, is that correct? They were discovered as the construction project got underway.
Thank you. So seeing no more lights, we will continue on with our next speaker, and that is Maria Paleokrasis. Push the button down at the bottom of your microphone. You got it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Board of Education, fellow parents from Sligo Creek and Silver Spring International Middle School. I would like to thank you for allowing this opportunity for parents to speak and offer testimony. I would like to also thank Mr. Seth Adams and the other Seth, and apologize, I don't have his last name, for listening at the meeting at Sligo Creek Elementary School last April. I wrote to Seth Adams and explained to the disruption that would affect a community if it were moved, albeit temporarily, to a holding school out of the district. I would like to thank all the parents from Sligo Creek Elementary School and Silver Spring International Middle School for coming out to show our community's solidarity and purpose. I appreciate the parents who, because of short notice and family and work obligations, were not able to come, but who sent me their messages so that I could be their voice tonight. I especially want to thank sorry for the typo, that's Joe Shashadi, for his work as SCES-PTA Construction Committee and MCCPTA representative. Thank you, Joe. I want to recognize that the board in their last meeting 1 week ago with Seth Adams underscored repeatedly the need to communicate with the communities affected by the amendments to the building project. Thank you for that consideration. I want to underscore the importance of community involvement, particularly with our community. Our community, the community that comprises Sligo Creek Elementary School, is unique for a number of reasons. Sligo Creek serves the local community. It serves a special needs population through its special education programs. It also serves a group of French speakers who, together with the aforementioned groups, create a tight community. We are a community stronger together. I stand with many of my fellow parents who have emailed, texted, and spoken to me who believe that we are a richer community for our being diverse. We are immigrants and natives, native English speakers and native Spanish, Amharic, and French speakers. We are parents of children with special needs and special charisms. We are one community. Breaking up or partitioning our school into chunks will undermine the legacy of our 45-year history as the first French immersion program in the United States of America. The strands of our community have been carefully braided together by initiatives by former administrations to include all students in classes that are not required to be taught in French by the rules of the French immersion program. That means that children who are in the academy program and the French program participate together in music, arts, and physical education. The school works hard to include all students in assemblies. The school is one unique body that is richer from our diverse makeup, and we need to stay on one campus. In education, we have a saying that failing to plan is planning to fail. Failing to communicate with the stakeholders who drive their children, support the school, pay the taxes, and vote will be a costly failure on all of our parts. As President Roosevelt said, let us move forward together with a strong and active faith. The rest is here. Please keep communicating and please keep listening. Thank you so much.
At this time, we will hear from Gina Davis.
Good evening, and thank you to the board for letting us have this platform to speak to you in person and to look at you as we share our concerns. I had a child in the Sligo Creek Elementary School for a while. It was a foster child. I'm familiar with all those concerns, and I am a resident in North Hills. So that means that I actually live one block from Parkside Elementary School, the school that you're looking to destroy and build a new school. So I just want to tell you one thing that irritates me a bit is that our elected officials, and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about our executives, our county executives, they have to look at intelligent planning. You know, this involves a smart ratio of homes to schools. You know, developers over schools is not smart. It isn't intelligent. So that's one irritation I have to get off my chest. But going back to the Parkside School, which is a big concern to me. This is a beautiful building. It's historic. It was an original experimental school and based on nature, teaching children to love and respect nature. The Acorn School is continuing that tradition. It's vital to our community, all of us. The Parkside School could be used so beautifully for pre-K. Open it up to pre-K. Open it up to adult education. Let's have classes in there for adults to learn Spanish and English. Let's have educational classes so our immigrant communities can learn English, learn to read and write English. That will elevate them. Let's have it open for the educational purposes it was built for. It's still vital. It's still usable. I want to tell you one other thing about building in that area. We seriously get floods on Sligo Creek Parkway. Cars get washed into the creek. You do not want to place a huge school in that area. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Cheryl Leah.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Leahy. I'm here to testify on behalf of the Grosvenor Woods Homeowners Association, the Grosvenor's Homeowner Association, Fleming Park Community Association, And as you'll see, the Wildwood Manor Association is going to testify shortly. Together, we represent about 1,700 homes that surround the Grosvenor Elementary site. I'm not an MCPS parent. I never have been. I'm here just strictly as a community member. Grosvenor Elementary, as it exists, has been a blight on our neighborhood for many years. The building exterior is beyond dated and in a constant state of disrepair. Excessive trash, uncut grass that's routinely knee-high, rats, dead trees, a rusty fence and rusty playground equipment, poor and dilapidated signage, broken lighting, and homeless individuals who, on occasion, sleep under the portables out back are some of our neighborhood concerns. Despite many meetings and communications over the years with the MCPS Facilities Department, nothing has changed. Our neighborhood has been taunted with plans to update the school, only later to be told there's no budget for improvements. Frankly, it's been a big waste of time for everyone who engaged in the conversation. With no PTA or long-term tenant vested in the upkeep of the school, Grosvenor Elementary falls through the cracks. In fact, it's pretty awful. I invite you all on your bus tour to Clarksburg to swing down to Bethesda and take a look at that school as well. The demographics are changing in our neighborhoods. The original homes are being sold to developers or families with young kids. There's a significant number of older people in our neighborhood who are likely to leave over the next few years. These homes are going to produce a lot of additional elementary school students just from the existing housing stock. Add to that the already approved condo building on the Balducci's parking lot, 2 new apartment towers at Books Hill, additional condos and apartments on the Grosvenor Metro parking lot, and the eventual development of the Davis Tract. And it's hard Grosvenor Elementary would be at capacity before construction is even complete. We need a new school now. It's maddening that MCPS has engaged MCPS families and the community in a process for selection and then ignored overwhelmingly positive community feedback. Our community was delighted, overjoyed even, when the Grosvenor Elementary was the front runner for the project. Even residents who live adjacent to the property expressed support. Our listserv and Facebook pages are lit up with positivity and support for the project, and believe me, that very rarely happens. Insinuating that the site was removed from consideration, in part due to community opposition, is simply untrue. We urge you to reconsider.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Anthony Irish.
Before I give my timed remarks, I'd like to make the modest request as a fellow public servant that the MCPS administrators here give me their undivided attention. It's frankly been disheartening at best to see some of you engage with your phones more than you have with the people that you serve that are here for you today. Having said that, good evening. Thank you, board, for the opportunity to speak.
Can I just share with you that sometimes we use these to look up information that you are sharing? Okay.
I was directing that to the MCPS staff that I was watching. I didn't see you, but thank you. I'm speaking to you today as the proud father of a second grader and upcoming kindergartner at Sligo Creek Elementary School, as well as a proud alumnus of Montgomery Blair High School, class of 1998, the last class to graduate from the old Blair. MCPS construction challenges at 313 Wayne Avenue are all too familiar to me. I wish that I could be here today to speak in support of the proposed scope change regarding Sligo Creek Elementary School as the best option for our community, but the simple fact is I cannot. First, the scope change is ill-defined with fundamental basic facts such as the expected size of the new and updated school at Highland View, treatment of the French immersion program, and expected impact on the catchment boundaries at the elementary level and above completely unknown. MCPS promises to develop and provide answers to these key questions, admittedly, with engagement of the school community and other stakeholders. But as other speakers before me today have told you, this brings us to the second and equally crucial issue with the proposal, which is transparency. Last March, when the prior version of the school renovation was before this board, this board instructed MCPS to engage in close communication with the community and ensure there is a full understanding with parents as the project develops. As you can see today, that has not happened. When the Sligo Creek community was untimely informed last year of impacts to our school of the Sims renovation, Parents rapidly mobilized, PTA membership soared, and engagement with MCPS on the project was initiated. And yet, despite the creation of the construction committee led by Joe, and attempts at close engagement with MCPS that he recounted, the entire community was uninformed and not consulted with this radical change in scope until it was before this board last week. This failure to communicate, this lack of transparency, is poisonous to the collaborative effort that we need to undertake. I personally have zero confidence that the community will be meaningfully engaged on issues of capacity, the immersion program, boundaries, or whatever challenges, as we know will arise, whether it was with the Blair property or as we can see are likely with the Parkside property, given these existing communication issues. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, I want to note that given the late notice of this scope change, despite the many people that you see here today, this board and MCPS does not have the benefit of the views of the entire Sligo Creek Elementary School community or the broader community. Those of us before you today are those that have had the privilege to read the notices that were sent in English, attend a PTA meeting at Sligo on Tuesday, and do whatever we need to get minimal information that's available and facilitate childcare changes, adjust our work schedules on very short notice to be here. There's a vast underrepresented portion of our population whose views are simply unknown. And because of all these reasons, I ask that the board today delay decision-making on the amendment beyond March 23rd so that MCPS can be required to provide more fidelity to their plans and engage in an open and meaningful dialogue with Sligo Creek, Sims, Highland View, Acorn Hills.
We have
and
your
North
written
Hills.
testimony. At this time, we will hear from, take off my glasses to see, Jason Andrea.
Yep, very good. All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Jason Andriuk. I'm the father of a kindergartner currently at the academy at Sligo Creek and a younger daughter who will start at Sligo Creek in 2021. We live in the immediate neighborhood and walk to school. So let's get to it. My family and many of my neighbors are deeply disappointed in this plan and how the Sims renovation project has unfolded generally. It's hard to accept, let alone support a plan when 1, communication is an afterthought, 2, the priorities shift, and 3, the plan for the Sligo Creek students, the splitting of the school, is treated as an afterthought to be decided later. The MCPS construction team has failed to communicate with the school community. We were promised a meeting and update in the summer. It never happened. We were promised an update in the fall. It never happened. We were promised a construction meeting after the new year. It never happened. Our first update since last June was the announcement on Friday of this brand new plan to disband our neighborhood school and split our school community. Second point. The purpose and scope of the project has changed. The project began to move the Sims gym inside the building because of the Purple Line safety concerns. To do that, the elementary school needed to be temporarily relocated. Now the plan is to hand over the entirety of the elementary space, and the gym construction, the initial reason for this move of the school, will still begin in 2021 with the Sligo Creek students present. All right, third point. The new plan requires splitting the elementary school's community, but the specifics have not been worked out. 2 days ago, the MCPS construction team told the PTA that they want to avoid doing a boundary analysis if they can, but given the previous promises were not kept, it's hard to have any confidence in we'll try. If boundary changes do take place, we hope it is done mindful of the impact of moving students, especially older students, for their last 1 or 2 years of elementary school. Obviously, the French program will remain together, but an uneven split of the academy could mean that only a handful of kids in a given grade are moved to a new school. That will make the transition much harder on those affected students. We also hope that any boundary changes are coordinated with the larger county-wide boundary analysis so that younger students don't end up going through multiple school changes. We want a plan that keeps our community school where it is and keeps the school together. If not that, we don't think it's acceptable to single out a small number of students from the academy to be uprooted. Regardless of what the board decides, we ask that moving forward, this project be held to a greater standard of transparency, accountability, and engagement. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Karen Bolte.
Good evening. I'm Karen Bolte, and I'm testifying on behalf of the Wildwood Manor Citizens Association. WMCA represents over 500 households immediately adjacent to and surrounding the Grosvenor Elementary School, which is currently serving as a holding school. WMCA urges the Board of Education to select the Grosvenor Elementary School as the site of the new elementary school to serve the WJ and BCC clusters. MCPS should return to using Grosvenor Elementary School for its original purpose as the needed local public elementary school for children in the Wildwood neighborhood and wider community. Opening a new elementary school at the Grosvenor site would allow our community's children to walk to school with the attendant health benefits and help to address the overutilization of Ashburton Elementary School, which currently has 936 students. Reviewing the site selection reports, it is clear that Grosvenor Elementary is the best location for the new elementary school. In July 2018, MCPS's Site Selection Advisory Committee for WJ Cluster Elementary School number 7 identified the Grosvenor School as having the most positive attributes. Pros of the Grosvenor Elementary School site noted in the SSAC and the recent MCPS DLR group reports include the following. The 10-acre site is optimally sized and has adequate access to public streets and public transportation. The Grosvenor site accommodates a 3-story school and all the required site elements, including 2 softball fields. And the site is large enough to permit several planned configurations of the school to be developed. The con of selecting Grosvenor is the loss of a holding school, but MCPS can designate another holding facility. In contrast with the Grosvenor School, the WMAL and White Flint sites have several cons, including the fact that all 3 of those sites are not large enough to provide for adequate recreational spaces. In addition, both White Flint sites carry significant financial acquisition costs, and the availability of White Flint South and the WMAL sites for use as a school are subject to unknown developer timelines. Rather than spending millions of dollars to acquire a planned dedication site or settling for a smaller site without adequate recreational space, the Board of Education should designate the BOE-owned Grosvenor School as the location of the future elementary school for the WJ and BCC clusters. In addition, WMCA strongly opposes taking or using any current and/or potential parkland for a future school site. And thank you for your consideration of WMCA's views.
Thank you. Our last speaker is Melissa Van Herksen.
Hello, my name is Melissa Van Herksen, and I'm the Vice President of the Clarksburg Elementary School PTA. I'm also the mother of 3 young boys at MCPS. We moved to Clarksburg a couple of years ago for the community, the diversity, and the schools. We knew that we would have a couple of years in the elementary school where things would be a little tight. But we were told that a new school was coming, and it was on its way, but now it's been delayed to a 2022 opening. We never expected to have over 200% capacity and growing. Just recently, we had Associate Superintendent McGuire at our school. She confirmed we were indeed the most overcrowded school in MCPS. We are number 1. You would assume that this would put us at the top of the list for projects that are safe, but that is not the case, as Ms. McGuire informed us. I invite the board to come to our school for lunch, arrival, dismissal, recess, school events. The first thing you will notice that we don't have any parking. You will also see the challenges of arrival and dismissal. There's just too many students. Students habitually arrive late to school due to the bottleneck situations on our tiny road or from construction and traffic on 355. You will also find students having math class in the cafeteria. These same 4th grade students line up to go to the bathroom by the gym where there is only 1 stall per gender. This is the only bathroom close to the portables. Next year, all of 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade will be in portables. If our anticipated numbers are correct, there will be more students outside in the portables than inside our school building. When I say our numbers, I mean real, actual historical data, not the projections supplied by the planning department. This is a central problem with all of the issues in our community. I am not sure why they won't admit their formula doesn't work or why they don't want to take time to have an honest look at our community to make an accurate projection to address the needs of Clarksburg. What happens when the numbers are wrong? One, our administration is not able to staff the school and plan accordingly for the following school year. According to the planning department, we are projected to have 639 students next year. We're at 640 as of today. By using the projection of 722 students in 6 years, it allows you to even consider an amendment like this one to close down the school. It diminishes the urgency of the construction of Clarksburg number 9. Why would you need a new school if Clarksburg Elementary seems to be working okay at 200% capacity and they won't have any growth next year? So let's just delay it by 1 more year. I included a table in my testimony. Please review it. These numbers aren't projections. They are based on fact and historical data. All we are asking from the board is to use real-life data to make a decision that is critical to the Clarksburg community. Our community already feels ignored for many things that have happened in the past, but in this case, we are simply asking you to solve a math problem. Take this table to my son's math class in the cafeteria next week, and I'm sure they will help you fill in the blanks for the projections for the upcoming school year. Please do not delay construction of Clarksburg number 9, and please keep both schools open. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll let board members make comments. We'll start with Dr. Daka. Do you have anything that you wanted to closing remarks?
No, I want to thank everybody for coming out to let us know how you're feeling and the questions that you have, and we will follow up.
Ms. Dixon?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we can get an update just about the Grosvenor School and, what we do to, keep it a good neighbor to the community. A little concerned about the, rats and things like that.
We can provide that at the work session.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yep. Okay. And I also wanted to mention as well, to those who don't know, with these phones, we have board docs on our phones as well. And your testimony can be seen there as well. So I think it's a little unfair to take the staff, and I don't know whether you're talking about us, to task about that. So I'm just, putting that out there. But there is information pertinent to what we're doing here tonight on those phones. And a lot of us don't bring those big computers anymore because they're a bit to lug around. So just want you to know that.
Mr. Tinbite.
Just wanted to thank you all for coming out today, and especially the students. That's it for me.
Ms. Silvestri?
No, just thank you for coming out tonight. Our facilities and boundaries work session is on Thursday, March 12th at 12:30, starting at 12:30 until 5. So we will be taking up a lot of the things that you have brought up to us today at that time. Thank you.
Ms. Wolf.
I wanted to thank everyone for coming out, particularly the students and our MCPS staff. I know it's been a long day for you. And I also want you to know that we actually do listen to what you're saying. And we consider the information that we receive from you as well as staff. I know, of course, it doesn't always seem that way, but we have heard you. And I want you to know that we try to provide the best experience for all students in MCPS. Again, thank you for coming out tonight.
Mrs. O'Neill.
Yes, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And also, if you watch the tape of our work session, you'll see that one of the reasons they had not notified staff was they had not talked to board members. And there was a public discussion at that meeting about that very issue that we actually needed to know, and then they were going out into the community. But the issue of Parkside, you did briefly address some of the natural challenges with that site. One, the forest area, and then we also heard about the flood issue. So when we have our work session, can you further address those challenges connected with that site, and also about the Acorn School? Can we see that map?
Dr. Smith.
I'd like to also thank everyone here for coming out. All of the written testimony we get, emails, they all inform the process. And this is the process of gathering information and working our way toward decisions. We've We've opened a new school every year since I've been here in the last 4 years, plus multiple additions, renovations, HVAC systems, new roofs, and updates to a variety of buildings. Massive number of projects every year. And we're not here to throw rocks at the county government, and at the same time, our obligation and this board's obligation is to put out the need to the county government and then work with them to get it funded to the greatest degree possible, and that's what we're in the middle of. As of this time, the Board of Education's capital improvements program sits in front of the county government in totality. They've not backed off from any of the things they've submitted. The goal is to have it funded fully at the end of May when this vote is taken, and we understand that there are lots of competing interests at the county level. So all of this works together. But this is the process, and we appreciate you sharing with us your insights, understandings. I wrote down from every single person here, and we take this information back and go through it all carefully and then look at your testimony to better understand not only what your interests are, but the ideas that you provide us as we think about how to approach these many challenges and opportunities in this school system. So thank you so much for being here and taking the time to share with us.
Yes, and so I'll just close with saying thank you as well, and tune in to our work session on March the 12th if you can in fact come in person. And just we appreciate you all taking time to come out this afternoon and at this evening, and at this time we are adjourned.